Hey guys, Mike here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 things you need to get started in your flight journey. Now, these answers and questions are based on some of the questions that I've gotten. Either if you've seen my past videos or you're just interested in aviation or becoming a pilot in general. I've gotten a few questions and I thought I should just answer them in this 5 answers, okay? So the first thing you're going to need to get started on your flight training is go for a demo flight. Okay, that sounds very obvious, but you'd be surprised. There's a big difference between dreaming about flying or watching videos and actually being in the cockpit and flying yourself. So the first thing I would say is to go for a demo flight, and that's very inexpensive. The last time I did, when I went for my demo flight, it was like $100. So you can practically find that very close to you. I don't know how much it is. It will depend on the location and perhaps the aircraft, but generally it's about $100. Go for a demo flight. When you do go for a demo flight, there's somebody sitting there with you. They kind of show you around. Just get a feel of what it's like to actually be in the cockpit of an airplane. Get a feel of what it's like to be up in the sky, in a tiny little object, those things. And if you like it, boom, you're good to go. And then you can decide, okay, you know what, I really want to do this. Or unfortunately, you can also not like the experience. I've actually met 1 or 2 people who wanted to fly, and whenever they went for a demo flight, they didn't like the experience so much, because it is quite different from what you get, say if you were in a bigger jet or a commercial plane. It is very different when you're in a smaller airplane. So I would say go for a demo flight, see what it's like, see how you like it, and then you can take a step forward from there. Okay, and that takes me to number 2. So the second thing you're going to need to get started is to find a reputable school that is very close to you. Okay, so one of the things that could affect your training in the long run is the school that you choose, and also the location. So if you haven't seen my video where I do like an overall cost of my pilot training, check it out, it's up there. So one of the things I mentioned in that video is the driving distance from my home or where I work to flight training. So what I advise people to do is find a good school that is within 20 minutes drive. Okay, it should not be beyond that, because if it's on a good day, if it's within 20 minutes, on a bad day, maybe it will take you 30 to 45 minutes. I would say find a good school that is within 20 minutes drive or 20 minutes travel distance. If you're taking the bus, if you're, I don't know, taking an Uber, just make sure it's within 20 minutes. Anything more than that can really affect your training. Okay, when I did my training, I had a school that was an hour or more away from me, and sometimes it is like that. Depending on where you are, the closest school to you might actually take longer. But if you can help it, find a good school that is within 20 minutes drive. Number 3. Now, once you've found a school, you went for your demo flight, you feel good about it, you're like, I can't wait to do this. You did your research, found a good school. The third thing you should do is set a budget. Okay, now I'm not saying this doesn't have to be something complex or whatever, but just whenever you go for your demo flight, for example, one of the things you should do is ask as much questions or as many questions as you can. Ask them about the airplanes that they have. Ask them, what it costs per hour, what the instruction fees are. Also, a lot of flight schools have like a membership fee where you get like a discount rate or whatever have you. It's like a standard thing now, which kind of to me sucks. It's a way to just get more money out of people. So what I say is ask as many questions as you can on precisely the monetary cost. So how much is it going to cost me per airplane, per hour? How much is the instruction fees? What are the for example, a lot of schools also have times where you can cancel or cannot cancel. What are the cancellation windows? Because a lot of that can affect your training in the long run. So once you get all those questions answered, and also partly they'll tell you some of the other additional costs or costs that you should prepare for, like your exams, your training, and also like your medical tests and if I'm not missing any, just materials in general. Okay, so part of your budget should be, I would say, put away $1,000 just for materials. You know, you're gonna need maps, you're gonna need books, you're going to need headset. You may just get the ones from your school, but if you want to have your own personal headset, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need a flight calculator, just little things here and there. So I would say just put away $1,000 for materials, and then come up with a budget for your actual training. So generally speaking, depending on the airplane that you fly, and in my other videos I've advised to have, you know, to choose the airplane that you want, but honestly you can learn to fly on any airplane. Most people learn in Cessnas. I learned in the DA-40, which is more on the expensive side. If I can take back my training, I probably would have just opted in for something much affordable. So I would say budget around $150 an hour for your total costs for your training. Most Cessnas today, you're probably looking at either $80 to $120 per hour, and instruction the fee to pay an instructor is anywhere from $50 and up, just in my experience. It could be cheaper somewhere else, but generally speaking it's about $50, and the price goes up from there. So I would budget between $150 to $200 an hour. So based on that, and based on the timetable the school gives you, you can sort of set a budget. And the reason again that I say set a budget is a lot of things can happen during your training that you're not able to control, but you can control your own pocket. All right, so set a budget from the beginning, and also put that $1,000 away for extra materials and whatnot. Okay, so that's number 3. So the fourth thing I would advise you to do is to get the ACS. All right, this ACS, the Airman Certification Standard, it's basically FAA rules and regulation on what you need, or it's basically like a timetable. All right, this is one of the errors that I made during my training, where again I let the school sort of decide everything that happens within my training. But I wish that I had the ACS from the beginning. That way I'm able to sort of follow where I was during my training. So the fourth thing I would advise, get the ACS. The ACS basically lists every single thing that you need, like all the stages of your training. It will tell you, the ACS lists the requirements. It lets you know, okay, this is all you need, this is what you need to accomplish, this is what you need to learn, and so on and so forth. So if you get the ACS early on, you can sort of get an idea of what your training is going to involve, rather than, you know, just letting the school decide what you learn and when you learn it. Okay, so I feel like if you have the ACS, you can sort of be a step ahead of your own training. So get that. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Just go on the FAA website, or just Google it. Google pilot ACS or something, and it should come up. Download that document and follow it step by step. Let your instructor know, and you can go through with your instructor, and that would help put your training in a better perspective. Trust me. From somebody who's been there, and I didn't get the ACS until later on. So get the ACS, it would really help. Now the last thing I would advise to do, other than subscribing to my channel, because I will be making a lot more aviation videos in the future dates, but also I would say set some time to study. Again, if you check out the video I did on my cost analysis, having time was one of my biggest challenge. So there's time where you go to the school where you learn in the cockpit, and there's also time you have to set aside to study. A lot of times, you know, and your training will be heavily dependent on this. The better prepared that you are before you go to your session to fly, the faster your training is going to move. And again, I understand that, you know, everyone has their own learning curve, but if you set the right time from the beginning, say for example, if you plan to fly say 2 or 3 times a week, and then you say, okay, out of this week I'm gonna set aside maybe 1 hour, 2 hours a day, or I'm gonna set aside 5 hours total within the week, where I would just sit down, go through my training, go through groundwork or things that I need to study or know about. For example, if you covered stalls today, or if you're going to cover stalls in your next date or training day, you can read a little bit about stalls. And the great thing is, there's YouTube. Literally, there's YouTube. If you hate reading like I do, you can easily just visualize. Go on YouTube, Google these things. It's likely somebody made a tutorial video somewhere, or they're also really good learning platforms for pilots in training, where they give you a nice video demonstration of whatever activity that you're doing or that you're trying to learn. So I would say set aside a good amount of time every week, depending on your work schedule. Set aside some time to be able to do some of that groundwork, to be able to cover things that you don't necessarily cover during your training. Because you know, when you first start, trust me, it's going to feel a little overwhelming because you're learning so much, and you may hear things like, you know, the cockpit is the worst place to learn how to do anything. Okay, to cover weather, to cover so much more. You may not learn those things while you're flying. When you're in the cockpit, you'll learn how to fly the plane. But there are also other things that you need to learn that will make you a better pilot. So I would say set aside some time during your week just to cover things, go over ground work and things that you need to learn. And with that, I think you should be good to go. Obviously, there's a lot more stuff to do, but I think if you do those 5 things, you would have a much more better start than I did, and I think your training would take a shorter time. Again, given that you are disciplined enough to keep to your timetable, I think your training will be a lot more efficient and less costly. Okay, so these are the 5 things that you need to get started flying. If I didn't cover anything, leave your comments below. And again, I did this questions and answers based on the questions that I've gotten in my inbox. And if you have any more questions for me, be sure to message me or leave in your comments. I will try my best to answer them. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And that's it for now, guys. I will catch you on the next video. Peace.